Welcome, Namaste, Namaste. Today I want to get into mobility of the wrists and a little bit with the elbows and a lot with the shoulders. When we spend a lot of time working on a computer, all of this can get kind of like tight this way, and it just doesn't feel good. So we'll work on creating some space. Please bring your hands to your heart and sit up nice and tall. And just take a moment to set a clear intention for your practice today. Think about what it is you would like to invite in to your body, into your mind, your thoughts, and into your heart. And then let's open the eyes. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, draw a line from the sky to the heart space. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Just finding that deep sense of center. 1 more time, please. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Let's come on to the hands and knees. I'm going to face you today because we're going to be doing a couple variations with the wrists. So once you're on your hands and knees, go ahead and bring the back of one hand and then the back of the other hand onto the floor. And we're going to take cat and cow here today. So you inhale, look up, exhale and round your spine. 2 more times. And the first time you do it, it's a little intense. That's totally normal. Exhale and round. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then go ahead and place your hands flat on the mat again so that you just give your wrist a moment to relax. And now I'd like for you to turn your hands out towards a 90-degree angle. I can go a little bit further because I'm pretty bendy here. If you can go further and it feels safe, go for it. If that feels like too much for your elbows, then bring the fingertips forward a bit. Same thing here. Inhale, look up. Exhale and round. 2 more times. Inhale. And keep a little micro bend in those elbows so that you're not hyperextending in the joint. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And now all 10 fingers point forward. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. And so we've just spent a moment kind of awakening the muscles of the wrists, also of the elbows. Now I'd like to invite you to really get into the shoulders. So press your palms actively into the floor as you feel the shoulders hugging in. So it's kind of like you have all of this stability and support from these 3 different muscle groups, the muscles surrounding the shoulders, the muscles surrounding the elbows and the wrists. And now let's shift forward to plank, top of a push-up. If you need to drop your knees, it's all good. Chaturanga, lower slowly. Come into cobra, heart to the sky. Exhale, pull your hips back, child's pose. And now from child's pose, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, come up tall on the knees. Exhale, draw a line from the sky to the heart. Every time you touch the heart, you remember your clear intention. Slide the hands forward. Knees, chin, and chest come down. Heart rises through. Inhale. Exhale, pull the hips back. Child's pose. Walk the hands back, lift the torso, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, bring it down. Slide the hands forward. Knees, chin, and chest. Inhale up. Exhale, pull it back. Now this next one is going to look very different with the hands. So walk it back, lift your torso. Hands to the heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. exhale, bring it down. Now I'm not going to ask you to do this on the back of the hand because it's too intense to weight bear there, but we can try the externally rotated variation. So bring your hands to the floor, turn your hands out to the sides. Again, if you've got more mobility, you can try, but really, if they're out to the sides, it's more than enough. Slide the hands forward, knees, chin, and chest. Inhale. Now this time, come to upward facing dog, and just notice how it feels a little different when we have the hands externally rotated. Usually we have a little bit more space in the shoulder joint. Downward facing dog, please. You can turn your 10 fingers forward, feel your heels pressing down, and breathe. And now look forward. You're going to step or hop your feet wide. Okay. Relax your head and neck completely and interlace your fingers behind your lower back. Take your arms overhead to the extent that it feels good. And be aware of which thumb is on top. Either one is great, but I am going to ask you to switch in a minute or two. So just be aware. Breathe. See if you can get a little deeper with the upper body, and then a little deeper with the arms. Good, and now hands to the floor. Turn to your right. Right foot points straight ahead, left toes turn out. Pull the hips back. You're in a deep forward bend. If it feels like the feet are too far apart, you can hop that back foot forward slightly. Now this is already pretty intense because we've got a nice stretch for the hamstring. But today, we're focused a little bit more on the upper body. So let's start to bring these elements together. Take your time, find your stability. Start with your hands on your hips. If that feels stable, interlace your fingers, have the other thumb on top this time. Take your arms overhead. So now we need to rely on our strong legs to stabilize us, to create a foundation. One more big breath, no big deal. And bring your hands to the floor. Good work. Let's turn all the way around to the second side. You're just going to swivel your feet around. Inhale, come up halfway, elongate your spine. Exhale and fold. So I'm bringing my chin towards my shin, and I'm really pulling this hip, this front hip back in space. You might even want to use your thumb to gently draw it back. Okay, so you know what to do here. Find your balance. If you need to shorten the stance, bring your feet a little closer. Interlace your fingers. Go back to the first thumb on top. Arms overhead. Breathe. Okay. 2 more deep breaths. And hands to the floor. Turn around to face me. Bring your hands to your hips or your waist. Come all the way up. Okay, good job. We have one more variation of this, and I'm going to turn my back to you for a moment to demonstrate. So you can bring fingertips to opposite elbow, and notice how that starts to open the chest. It helps with posture, it helps with breathing, helps with feeling good. Remember all that science like 3-4 years ago about power posture, standing tall in your body? There's something to it. If we stand up tall with confidence, we just feel a little better. So this is option 1. Option 2, I'd like you to start to bring your hands together. It might be low. I've just got my fingertips together. Elbows back. And then option 3 is called reverse Namaste. You bring your palms together between your shoulder blades. Okay, so you've got 3 options, opposite elbow. You can go here or start with that little kind of teepee variation to get into more mobility. And if you're really bendy, palms together. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the right once again. Bring the foot in front, other foot is back. Square your hips, and now bring your hands behind you. Start with option 1, opposite elbow. If that's all good, maybe you go for option 2. Hands are like, do you remember here's the church, here's the steeple from when we were little kids? That's how your hands are. Option 3, you bring the palms flush against one another. And the hands are between the shoulder blades. Let's inhale, little back bend. Exhale, reach your chin for your shin. Breathe. So this is the kind of practice that kind of sneaks up on you. It's like, oh, that doesn't look all that hard. She's doing like one pose. But for real, this will increase the flexibility and mobility in the hamstrings, the lower back, the shoulders, and the wrists. And guess what? That's all of the muscle groups. Those are all of the muscle groups that get tight when we're seated for long periods of time. Let's switch sides. Okay, so set up your pose, opposite elbow, or the little kind of teepee situation with your hands. Or maybe you bring your hands to reverse Namaste between the shoulder blades. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, chin for your shin. Breathe. And so far we're really working on opening up. And the reason for that is because hunching over is not so good for you in the shoulders. We want to really start to explore external rotation and create space across the chest. But once in a while we play with bringing it in, but not today. Keep pulling that front hip back a whole bunch. Feel your hamstring talk to you a little bit. Feel your shoulders and your wrists talk to you a little bit. If they're screaming at you, back off. It should just be a conversation. One more big breath. And whew, come all the way up. Take a moment, get your bearings, especially if you got a little lightheaded. Shake out your hands. Come on down to your knees. Okay, and let's stretch the wrists again. So we're going to bring the back of the hand onto the floor, lean forward into it, and that should feel really good, especially after all of that wrist work with your hands behind your back. Okay, and now remember on the palms out to the sides, maybe even spinning. Lean forward a little. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you to come onto your tummy, facing me. And this is not commonly practiced, but it's really good for the back of your shoulders. Let's take one arm through and under the other arm. So you're in a little crisscross situation here. Just keep going as far as you can and bring your chin onto your arm. Breathe. This is to stretch the posterior deltoid. It's just a big fancy name for the back of your shoulder. Posterior is back, deltoid is shoulder. If you're like me, maybe you worked out this week and you're feeling this a little more than usual. Let's enjoy one more big breath. And change sides. So you simply slide the other arm under. And again, you've got this little crisscross situation thing happening. Inhale for length, exhale, chin onto your arm. Good, and you should really feel the back of your shoulders. If you have any kind of shoulder injury or sensitivity and you need to back off, it's totally fine. I had shoulder stabilization surgery many, many years ago, and so I'm especially sensitive to what can happen with shoulders. Remember, you can also always reach out to me if you have questions, but I'll always make sure that we're working in a safe and intelligent way. All right, good news. You get to unravel there. Come all the way down onto your tummy. We've got one more stretch before we conclude. So take one arm out to the side and lean over onto that same side of your body. Great big stretch through the chest and the shoulder. If you want more, you can always bring that arm open. If it's too much, fingertips to the floor. And all the way over to the other side. So all you do is lay on your belly, fingertips on the floor, lean over. If you want more, you open. If you prefer it a little more gentle, keep your fingers down. Breathe. Come back to the center, and we have a slightly different closing sequence today. Pull back to child's pose. Here for just 3 breaths. Ground your energy. Feel the sense of spaciousness through the shoulders. Crisscross your feet behind you. Have a seat. Sit upright. And it should feel, again, like you've just created some space across the chest, through the front of the shoulder, under the collarbones. We bring the hands to the heart, bowing the head slightly. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your practice. Namaste.